Hello, my name is Jayashree George, and I'm a co-author on this paper. And I happen to be in Dr. Stith's class in the Marriage and Family Therapy program at K-State not too long ago, and that was the birth of this paper.
And I direct the Marriage and Family Therapy program and teach courses in domestic violence. But I've also done research myself in the area of domestic violence since the early 1980s. Currently, a lot of my research focuses on work with couples who choose to stay together after experiencing domestic violence. And several years ago, I was invited to Haifa University in Israel. And at that time, they wanted to discuss the controversies surrounding domestic violence. And they divided up the table. Half of the group was asked to represent the feminist approach, and the other the family violence approach. And I was asked to represent the family violence approach, which was disturbing to me because I always thought of myself as a feminist who also studies violence in the family. And Jayashree and I started having conversations, and that's really what led to this paper.
Absolutely. Like also what we found in our research is that researchers or clinicians who advocate studying or treating females who might be primary perpetrators of of intimate partner violence, or who advocate studying or treating couples who want to stay together after experiencing intimate partner violence are often labeled anti-feminist. And this was troubling to us as well. And we were also at odds with the brand of feminism that, not only in social policy, that required batterer groups for men and support groups for women victims, but also the implication that most, if not all, men were perpetrators, and most women, if not all women, were victims. So we really had a problem with this. And further troubling was the idea that that if we believe that patriarchy also does men a disservice, it means that we're letting them off the hook, that they're not being accountable for their violence, and also not being accountable for the unearned privileges they earn on account of their gender. So in the same way, we had concerns with batterer intervention programs, where we felt like we were not allowed to acknowledge or consider psychological contributions to male battering behavior. So this was similarly seen as not letting men be accountable for their violence. So from these troubling ideas was born our impetus for this paper, where we advocate for non-essentialist practices in our clinical work using an intersectional, anti-oppressive, socially just perspective, and an updated feminist view of intimate partner violence, so that we're really moving from a second wave perspective where the only single category that was used was the difference between genders, male, female, versus an intersectional view where all different identity statuses of race, class, gender, sexual orientation, etc., all these statuses of identity and the resulting power differential was used as part of the treatment planning and treatment delivery process.
Absolutely. So this was exciting to us to be able to really tie those third wave feminism and our work together.
Yes, absolutely. Because what state standards say is that there has to be one size and everyone has to fit into it. And if you don't fit into it, that you were somehow being either anti-feminist or just letting men off the hook.
Right. Not holding them accountable.
Not holding them accountable. So what we mean by that is that while we acknowledge that there's an inherent power differential between client and therapist, that we also take into account other identity statuses where a person might have more power or less power based on the different markers of identity, like race, class, gender, sexual orientation, religion, etc. So we don't want to replicate those injustices that are experienced by people, also replicated in the session.
Right, and we really came to recognize that this is a feminist stance. It's really a third wave feminist stance. And if as the more we read, the more we recognize that the newer brands of feminism, that they really do advocate an intersectional position.
Absolutely.
We moved beyond. And we give two examples of the couples work that we have both individually done with our couples. and really are looking forward to hearing your reactions and your thoughts about the work we're doing in the paper. So we look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.